Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Rick Rolled, a live video series that I'm going to be starting where I invite you to my kitchen table to take a look at some of my favorite games. And tonight we are going to start off the series with an unboxing live video. And the game that we are going to be unboxing is Steampunk Rally. Now I know from your perspective, because I've had to reverse the camera here, it looks more like Nut Meets Elar, but that is Steampunk Rally, I swear to you. And the designer of this game is Orrin Bishop. It is published by Roxley Game Laboratory, and it is a racing game for 2 to 8 players, in which the players will be taking on the roles of famous inventors throughout the course of history that have been called to the Alps for a race to prove that they are the greatest inventor of all time. So they're going to be assembling all sorts of wacky and wonderful types of vehicles for them to be able to race across the treacherous terrain through the mountains and see who will come out on top. We are going to later on actually do a video of how to play, but tonight we are simply going to look under the hood, as it were, and see what all is in this beautiful box for Steampunk Rally. So let's get to it. Let me go ahead and crack this open. And by the way, welcome Paul, welcome Lisa. Glad to have you with us. Be careful with box cutters, very dangerous. We're gonna see if we can cut open the lining here without cutting ourselves. Box. And there we go. We will take off the plastic here. That is gone. And now let's take off the lid. So we will put the lid aside and just kind of show you here real quick. Here is the inside of the box. We have first on top, if I can get it out here, this beautiful glossy full color rule book, and which I will be pouring through now that I have this box open. After the video, of course. I won't bore you by making you sit here while I read through the whole rule book. But I am definitely excited to learn how to play. So some beautiful illustrations in there. And there's one of the crazy machines that you can build. So also, if you're just joining us and you're wondering what kind of game is Steampunk Rally, Steampunk Rally is a racing game, but it also has other elements to it. It has card drafting, which if you're at all familiar with Seven Wonders, it is a Seven Wonders style kind of card draft mechanic. And it also has some dice placement and dice rolling. So if you love to roll dice and play with dice, this is a good game for you. Next layer that we have in the box here is we've got some cardboard here. Let me remove this piece here that's holding everything together. There we go. So the first couple of cardboard layers here we've got the racing tiles. So these are gonna punch out like so. Oop. And these racing tiles we're going to use as modular pieces of our map for our inventors to race across. And the really neat thing is too, they're all double-sided. So you've got one track that is the Swiss Alps that you're racing through, and then the other one is the Hoverdrome. So you're up in the air above Paris, France, and on one of the tiles I know you can see the Eiffel Tower. So that's really neat. And not only that, you've got extra ones of these tiles. So therefore, every time you play this game, you can put together a slightly different map with slightly different hazards and give yourself a different game experience. So that's one of those panels. Here's some more map tiles, again double-sided. And then on this next piece of cardboard we have here, we have our inventors. These are going to be for our stand-ups. So whichever inventor you're playing, we're also going to have some little plastic standees that you're going to put these pieces of cardboard into. We have this little circular turn order thing here. So I believe from watching the review videos, you're going to flip this at the beginning of the game and it's going to tell you whether the turns go clockwise or counterclockwise when turn order is important. And then that's going to alternate every round. Then we also have some cogs, lots of cogs. And those we'll talk about more later. I'm not sure. And then we got some things up the top here. I think these up at the top are random elements you can add to the maps to give more variety to it. So that is that. And what else do we have here? Oh, I love this. We've got baggies. So as a hardcore gamer, I have much love for publishing companies that give me some ways to store stuff, because I am very anal retentive about how I store my games neatly away. So this is always a nice thing to find within the game. And next we'll look here. We've got lots and lots of dice. There's actually 108 dice that come with this game. So we got yellow, which is in the game, it's going to represent electricity, and blue, which is going to represent water, and then finally red, which is going to represent fire or heat. And those are different elements that we're going to put into our racing machines to make them go. So put those aside. We also have a bunch of these damage counters. So the Alps are very perilous to drive through. So as you are taking your machine through the Alps, you take damage, you're going to move this counter to the negative numbers. Or if you get more armor, you'll move it to the positive side. Hey, Philip. Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us. So these are going to be handy because you need to keep track of your damage and your armor. And it is possible that your wacky and wonderful machines could start to fall apart on you. That's a thing that happens. Pieces start to fall off and you have to rebuild. So that's what these are for. So I'll leave those there in the box. Then we have two big decks of cards. So I'm going to crack open each of these. But these are going to be a combination of our car parts. Shouldn't say our car, but our machines that we're building, our racing machines. Trying to carefully cut this open without damaging the game or myself. I think that's enough to get it open there. So we'll check out this first deck, see what's in here. So let's see. So first off, let me split these out. First off, we have our fabulous inventors. Hello, Amy Wilson. Thank you for coming and watching my video of Steampunk Rally. So here we have Albert Einstein, and we've got Sakichi Toyota, and you've got a whole bunch of different inventors to choose from. So those are going to be the people that you're playing as. And on the backs of these cards, where you've got and there's usually two for each of these guys. So I got two for Albert Einstein. And then you flip it, and this is actually his cockpit here that he's going to start out with. And then he's also going to start out with one extra piece to his machine, which he can connect like that or like that. And then that will give him a start in building his machine. And by the way, too, on like all these inventors, one of the neat things they did in the rule book, I don't know if you noticed when we were flipping through there, but at the bottoms of the pages, they gave descriptions of all these people and who they were. If you weren't familiar with the name, they'd tell you what they were famous for, which I think is kind of neat. It makes the game a little bit educational. So let's see what else we have in this deck. I know we have 4 different types of cards with different borders. So yeah, we got like some bronze bordered cards here, and we've got some more kind of like yellow bordered cards. And I've watched enough of the videos to know that each round you're going to have these 4 different stacks, and you're going to be taking, each player is going to take 4 cards, or one card from each stack for 4 cards, and then you're going to be doing a draft. But each of these stacks, or at least 3 of the 4 stacks, are going to have different parts that you can add to your vehicle. Like here you got some wings you can add. And you'll notice they have little squares there and spaces. So those are where you're going to be placing dice to make your vehicle go. So those look like 2 of the decks. Let me see what is in our other deck here. Once again, we'll try and open this safely as possible. And for those of you who joined me after I started, this is kind of the very beginning of a series I'd like to call, and thank you to Paul Saxberg for this idea, by the way. I'm going to have to, if this ever takes off, I'm going to have to pay him royalties. But he came up with this idea of Rick Rolled. And so that is what we're calling this series, where I'm looking at different board games, doing either reviews of them, or we're doing playthroughs or unboxings and things like that. So in this stack here, we have some little player aid cards. We've got several of those, and I know those are reversed to you, so that's probably harder to read, so I apologize for that. But we got, there should be 8 here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, so 1 for each of your potentially 8 players that you could have in this game. And then we have more car parts. We got some more of the yellow bordered ones here. And then we also have some kind of gray bordered ones. And each of those different piles of car parts have different features to them. And then finally, the one that's kind of like, which one of these is not like the others? There's also this stack of boost cards. And boost cards are going to enable you to do cool things. So they don't actually attach to your vehicle like the other ones do. You just kind of keep them face down until you choose to use them. So those are those. And then finally, we have a little bag of plastic standees. And so those are going to be used, like I said, when we punch out our little cardboard players, they're going to sit in those standees so we can move them around the track as they advance. And I believe that there's all those dials. We have 8 of those dials, and it's nice that they're pre-assembled. This is actually, design-wise, I love this. This is very cool. Hey, Joseph. Thanks for joining. In the inside of the box, super neat. One thing I love about Roxley Game Laboratory is they make some really pretty games. And this game is no exception to that. The art is beautiful and really drags you into the theme and of the whole steampunk race. So that is all the stuff that's in the box. And for those of you that I see, Brian, thank you for joining. For those of you who came on in the middle or late, after this video ends, there's no reason why you can't go back and just watch it from the beginning. and check out all the stuff that you missed. And like I said, sometime later, I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do it, but I will be doing a kind of a review, a quick review of this game of how to play, so that you can get a feel for whether or not Steampunk Rally is a game that you would want to purchase. But first, I want to go through the rules. I want to play a game or two with some friends and get comfortable with it, and then that way I can show it to you without flubbing up really badly, because I want it to be a nice demonstration of how the game is played. So that's it, everybody. Thank you again. You have been Rick Rolled, and I hope you'll join me again next time when I present more board games from Rick's Table. Thanks.